If you're over 50 and you've been told that walking is the best exercise to stay healthy, mobile, and strong, you're about to discover something that might surprise you. Because while walking is great, there is one single exercise that beats it in almost every category that matters as you age. And here's the crazy part. Most people don't even think of it as an option. But specialists, physiotherapists, and trainers who work with older adults are recommending it now more than ever. So if you want better strength, better balance, more energy, stronger bones, and a healthier heart after 50, this one movement might just be the closest thing to a miracle exercise you'll ever hear about. And no, it's not running, it's not swimming, and it's not lifting heavy weights at the gym. It's something far simpler, safer, and way more effective than most people expect. Stick with me, because once you understand why this exercise works so well, and once you imagine how easy it is to fit into your day, you are going to want to start it today.
When you hear that a simple sit-to-stand exercise can outperform walking for people over 50, it almost sounds exaggerated, but the logic behind it is solid and backed by specialists who focus on aging, mobility, and long-term functional strength. The reason this movement becomes so valuable is because it directly targets the muscles and abilities that tend to decline the fastest as we get older. Walking is absolutely beneficial, and nobody is denying its role in improving cardiovascular health, keeping joints mobile, boosting mood, and supporting weight management. But when you compare walking to a movement that loads your legs, hips, and core with your own body weight every single repetition, it becomes clear why the sit-to-stand stands in a league of its own for maintaining independence after 50. As we age, the biggest threat to living freely isn't usually heart health alone. It's the slow, steady decline of muscle strength. Losing strength in the legs, hips, and glutes is the #1 reason older adults struggle with basic, everyday tasks like climbing stairs, standing up from a couch, getting out of a car, or lifting themselves from the ground. These are movements that define whether someone can continue living independently or whether they start to rely on others. Walking simply doesn't challenge those muscles enough to slow or reverse the natural muscle loss that happens each year after age 50. Every time you perform a sit-to-stand, you load the major muscle groups with enough force to stimulate real strength improvements. Your quadriceps do the heavy work of straightening your knees and lifting you upward. Your glutes fire powerfully to extend your hips, stabilize your pelvis, and prevent the slow weakening that contributes to back pain and poor posture. Your hamstrings coordinate the movement, helping you lower yourself with control and rise with confidence. Your core has to engage from the moment you lean forward to push off the chair to the moment you lock out at the top, protecting the spine and training balance at the same time. This single movement activates almost every muscle required to support stable and safe movement in everyday life, making it far more comprehensive than a simple walk around the block. Specialists emphasize the importance of this movement because it's not just exercise, it's a direct reflection of your functional strength. The sit-to-stand is actually used as a clinical assessment in hospitals and physical therapy clinics. Professionals watch how easily or how slowly someone can stand from a chair, and they can predict with surprising accuracy how well that person will maintain mobility in the coming years. This one movement shows how strong your legs are, how well your joints function, how balanced you are, and how efficiently your muscles coordinate together. Walking doesn't offer that insight because you can walk with weak legs, poor balance, or declining muscle mass and not realize the issue until it becomes a real problem. Another reason the sit-to-stand becomes more valuable than walking after 50 is because of the way it stimulates fast-twitch muscle fibers. These are the fibers responsible for strength, power, and preventing falls. As we age, we lose these fibers faster than slow-twitch endurance fibers. Walking mostly recruits slow-twitch fibers, which is why it's great for stamina but not for strength. Sit-to-stands activate fast-twitch fibers, which are essential for stabilizing the body quickly when you trip, misstep, or change directions. This is a major reason specialists endorse this movement so strongly for older adults. It's not just about building strength, it's about building the kind of strength that protects your safety and confidence in everyday life. Another factor that puts sit-to-stands ahead of walking is because of the way they stimulate fast-twitch muscle fibers. Another factor that puts sit-to-stands ahead of walking is because of the load they place on bones. After 50, bone density becomes a concern for both men and women, but especially for women after menopause. Walking has only a mild effect on maintaining bone density because there's limited impact and minimal force running through the legs. Sit-to-stands, on the other hand, put controlled pressure on the bones of the hips, thighs, and spine, stimulating them to stay stronger and more resilient. Stronger bones mean a lower risk of fractures, which are responsible for a major decline in mobility for older adults. Keeping bones strong is just as important as keeping muscles strong, and this simple exercise checks both boxes at once. The sit-to-stand also shines because it can easily be adjusted for any level. If someone is just starting out, they can use a higher chair or use their hands to assist. As they grow stronger, they can lower the chair, slow the movement down, or add repetitions. Eventually, it can progress to a full squat, but even if it never does, the benefits remain enormous. This accessibility makes it far more versatile than walking, which doesn't change its difficulty unless you dramatically increase speed, incline, or intensity. Sit-to-stands allow gradual progression, and every level of challenge builds meaningful strength. Beyond muscles and bones, this movement improves balance, posture, and joint stability because each repetition forces the body to coordinate multiple systems at once. Walking doesn't challenge coordination in the same way because the movement is repetitive, light, and predictable. A sit-to-stand is a full-body coordination exercise disguised as something incredibly simple. The nervous system, joints, and muscles learn to work together more effectively, which translates directly into smoother, more confident daily movement. The real beauty of this exercise is that it requires no equipment, no special training, and almost no time. It's a strength workout built directly into a functional, everyday motion you already do multiple times a day. Specialists favor exercises that improve quality of life, not just fitness metrics. And the sit-to-stand delivers on that better than almost anything else for people over 50. It supports independence, reduces fall risk, preserves the ability to move freely, and keeps the body strong enough to handle the demands of daily living without strain or fear. Over time, this simple move can transform how secure and capable someone feels in their own body, giving them more strength, confidence, and freedom than walking alone could ever provide.
When people talk about staying healthy after 50, walking is usually the first exercise that comes to mind, and for good reason. It's simple, safe, accessible, and beneficial for the heart, lungs, and overall mood. But when it comes to maintaining real strength, especially the kind you need to stay mobile and independent as you age, walking has its limits. It keeps your body moving, but it doesn't challenge the muscles that tend to weaken the fastest. This is where the sit-to-stand exercise becomes a game changer. While walking mostly works your cardiovascular system and lightly activates your leg muscles, sit-to-stands force your legs, hips, glutes, and core to lift, stabilize, and coordinate your entire body weight. That level of engagement simply doesn't happen during a walk, no matter how brisk. Specialists who work with older adults emphasize this exercise because it directly counters the natural muscle loss that begins around age 50. Every year, without proper stimulation, your muscles lose strength, size, and power, a process known as sarcopenia. Walking, unfortunately, doesn't provide enough resistance to slow this decline in a meaningful way. You could walk for an hour every day and still struggle with weak legs, difficulty standing from low chairs, or unsteady balance. What makes the sit-to-stand movement so effective is that it puts the exact kind of stress on your muscles that they need in order to grow stronger. When you stand up from a chair without using your hands, your quadriceps have to push your body upward, your glutes have to fire to extend your hips, your hamstrings have to stabilize the motion, and your core has to tighten to keep you balanced. This is a coordinated effort from multiple major muscle groups all at once. And because you're lifting your own body weight, the resistance is naturally appropriate and safe, even for beginners. Walking doesn't give your muscles that load. It's a repetitive, low-intensity movement that your body quickly adapts to. That means your cardiovascular system improves, but your strength levels stay more or less the same. Over time, that strength gap becomes noticeable. Tasks you used to do easily, like getting off the floor, climbing stairs, or rising from a low seat, start to feel harder, even if you're a dedicated walker. Another key difference specialists point out is that sit-to-stands don't just work the muscles, they work the right muscles. After 50, the first muscles to weaken are usually the glutes, quadriceps, and deep core stabilizers. These muscles are essential for balance, stability, and functional strength. When they weaken, your risk of falls increases, your posture changes, your joints experience more strain, and everyday movement becomes more tiring. Walking barely targets the glutes at all, and it doesn't require significant activation of the quads or core. Most people can walk even with very weak leg muscles because the motion doesn't challenge them. Sit-to-stands, however, instantly reveal weakness and immediately begin correcting it. Specialists love this because it means people can quickly retrain parts of the body that matter most for preventing decline. Another major advantage is that sit-to-stands stimulate muscle fibers that walking simply cannot. Your body has different types of muscle fibers, and as you age, the ones responsible for speed, power, and quick responses deteriorate the fastest. These fast-twitch fibers are crucial for rapid corrections, like catching yourself when you stumble or reacting quickly when you lose balance. Walking primarily activates slow-twitch fibers, which are great for endurance but offer little protection against falls or sudden changes in movement. Sit-to-stands activate both types of muscle fibers, but especially the fast-twitch ones. Every time you stand up, your muscles generate force, stabilize your body, and control your movement. This helps restore some of the power that naturally declines with age, giving you better balance and faster reaction times in real-life situations. Walking also doesn't do much to strengthen your bones. As people age, bone density decreases and the risk of fractures goes up significantly. A fall that might have been harmless at age 30 can be devastating at age 60 or 70. Bones only stay strong when they experience pressure and resistance. Walking does create impact, but not enough to stimulate real bone growth in the hips, thighs, and spine. Sit-to-stands, on the other hand, generate force through these exact bones every time you rise and sit. This helps maintain and even improve bone density in the areas that are most vulnerable to age-related weakening. That's one of the reasons specialists often recommend this movement as a foundational exercise. It supports not just muscles, but skeletal strength as well. Another important point to understand is that sit-to-stands help retrain the body in movement patterns that matter for everyday life. Walking is a repetitive motion that doesn't require much coordination once you've learned it as a child. But standing up from a seated position is a skill that many people lose as they age. They start relying on their hands, rocking forward for momentum, or using chairs with armrests just to get up. When the muscles involved become weak, the nervous system also becomes less efficient at coordinating the movement. Sit-to-stands restore this pattern by teaching your muscles and nervous system to work together again. Each repetition improves alignment, increases stability, and teaches your body how to move safely and efficiently. Walking doesn't retrain these patterns because it doesn't challenge the nervous system in the same way. Sit-to-stands also allow progression, which is something walking can't easily offer unless you drastically increase difficulty. With sit-to-stands, you can adjust the height of the chair, slow down the movement, add pauses, increase reps, or use no hands to make it harder. These small changes keep your muscles adapting and growing stronger. This matters because your body only gains strength when you gradually increase the challenge. Walking tends to plateau quickly. Once you're used to your daily route, it no longer stimulates improvement in your muscles. Sit-to-stands keep providing new stimulus with very small modifications. And perhaps one of the most overlooked advantages is that sit-to-stands build confidence. Many adults over 50 begin to lose trust in their body without even noticing it happening. They start avoiding low seats, hesitate on stairs, or hold on to railings more often. This lack of confidence often stems from weak muscles, not just fear. As people become stronger through simple sit-to-stand practice, they feel more secure and capable. They move with smoother control, they stand up more easily, and they regain a sense of physical independence that walking alone doesn't provide. That emotional and psychological boost is a powerful benefit on its own, and it comes directly from strengthening muscles walking tends to ignore. This is why specialists keep emphasizing that while walking is wonderful for heart health, it cannot replace the strength-building benefits of sit-to-stands. Walking keeps you moving, but sit-to-stands keep you strong. Walking supports your health, but sit-to-stands protect your independence. Walking keeps your heart young, but sit-to-stands keep your body capable. And when you combine the two, walking for endurance and sit-to-stands for strength, you get a powerful formula for staying active, confident, and resilient well into your later years.
When you think about the kinds of movements that truly determine your independence as you get older, it's not long runs, heavy lifting, or long walks that matter most. It's the small, functional movements you repeat every single day, often without thinking about them, that shape your long-term strength and mobility. That's why the sit-to-stand exercise holds so much value, especially for adults over 50. It improves the exact type of strength you rely on for everyday life. Strength that allows you to get out of bed, climb stairs, rise from the couch, stand up from the floor, or lift yourself from a low seat without assistance. These movements aren't just physical motions. They're the backbone of independence. When specialists endorse sit-to-stands, they do it because this exercise builds the kind of practical, functional strength that makes living freely possible as you age. Think about the number of times you stand up and sit down in a single day. It's a movement pattern that repeats constantly, whether you're getting out of a chair, stepping out of a car, or rising from the toilet. When these movements start becoming difficult, life becomes restricted in ways people don't expect. Weakness in the legs and hips can make even simple tasks feel exhausting. But what's most interesting is that these difficulties don't happen suddenly. They creep in slowly, often unnoticed, until one day you realize you're pushing off your thighs for help, using chairs with armrests just to lift yourself, or avoiding low seats altogether. Sit-to-stands directly train and restore the strength needed to perform all these everyday motions with ease, which is something walking alone can never accomplish. Each repetition of a sit-to-stand strengthens the quads, glutes, hamstrings, and core, which together form the foundation of stable, powerful movement. Your quadriceps give you the ability to rise smoothly. Your glutes support your hips, protect your spine, and prevent instability. Your hamstrings coordinate the movement so you can sit and stand without tipping, jerking, or straining. And your core keeps everything aligned, preventing you from leaning excessively or losing balance. When these muscles work together efficiently, daily tasks become effortless. When they weaken, everything becomes harder. Walking is a great habit, but it doesn't challenge these muscles nearly enough to build meaningful strength. You can walk for hours and still struggle to stand up from the floor because walking does not simulate that movement pattern at all. The muscles involved don't get the stimulus they need to stay strong or improve. Sit-to-stands, on the other hand, mimic real-life needs. They train your body for the exact movements required at home, at work, or anywhere your day takes you. That's why specialists call it a functional exercise. The strength you build transfers directly into your everyday life. Another reason this movement is so effective for functional strength is that it forces your body to work through a full range of motion. When you stand up, your knees extend, your hips drive forward, your spine stacks tall, and your feet push through the floor. Every joint is involved. This teaches your body to move in a coordinated way that makes everyday tasks smoother and safer. When people skip exercises that use full range of motion, their bodies eventually lose that ability. Stiffness increases, mobility decreases, and movements that used to feel natural become awkward or painful. Sit-to-stands combat this decline by maintaining mobility in the hips, knees, and ankles while strengthening the muscles that support them. One of the most powerful benefits of sit-to-stands is how much they improve balance. Balance isn't just about standing on one leg or avoiding a fall. It's about how steady you feel when you shift your weight, change direction, or move from sitting to standing. As we age, balance decreases naturally if we don't train it. Weak legs, slow reaction times, and a lack of core strength all contribute to feeling unsteady. Sit-to-stands force your body to stabilize itself through every inch of the motion. They also improve your awareness of where your body is in space, which is crucial for preventing falls. Even just a few weeks of doing them consistently can make daily movements feel more controlled and predictable. Specialists prioritize exercises that build strength in a functional, practical way, because those are the exercises that truly enhance your quality of life. Strength machines at the gym can isolate muscles, but that doesn't always translate into real-world capability. You could have strong leg press numbers and still struggle to get up from the floor. Sit-to-stands prepare your body for real life. They strengthen your legs in the exact way you need them to function outside the gym. The strength you gain is immediately noticeable, not only in workouts, but in your daily routine. Sit-to-stands also develop something critical that many older adults lose without realizing: power. Power is your ability to produce force quickly. It might sound like something only athletes need, but everyone uses power every single day. When you stand up from a chair, step over something, catch yourself from a stumble, or rise to reach for something, your body uses power. Without it, movements become slow and unstable. Sit-to-stands naturally increase power because they train your muscles to lift your body weight with control and drive. That translates into faster, safer, more confident movement in everyday life. Another functional benefit of sit-to-stands is improved joint stability.
When you rise from a chair, the joints in your ankles, knees, and hips all have to work together in perfect coordination. Over time, this repeated practice creates stronger stabilizing muscles around each joint. When joints are stable, they hurt less, move more easily, and stay healthier. Many people assume joint pain after 50 is inevitable, but weakness is often a major contributor. Sit-to-stands help reverse that weakness by strengthening the muscles that keep your joints aligned and supported. Finally, the functional strength gained from sit-to-stands often leads to a significant boost in confidence. Many older adults over 50 begin to avoid certain positions or movements because they worry they won't be able to get up easily. They avoid sitting on the floor with grandchildren, hesitate to kneel in the garden, or choose chairs based on whether they can stand from them comfortably. This hesitation limits life in ways people don't always recognize. But as sit-to-stands build strength, they eliminate that fear. They restore the feeling of being capable and self-reliant. They let people move freely and do more of the things they enjoy without worrying if their body will cooperate. This is the true value of the sit-to-stand exercise. It's not just about building muscles. It's about keeping you capable, confident, and independent. It's about making everyday tasks feel easier instead of harder. It's about giving your body the strength it needs to support the life you want to live as you get older.
One of the most fascinating things about the sit-to-stand movement is how strongly specialists rely on it to assess someone's long-term mobility, independence, and overall health. This one simple action, standing up from a chair without using your hands, reveals more about your functional ability than almost any other exercise or test. Doctors, physiotherapists, and aging experts often use it as a clinical indicator because it shows exactly how well your muscles, joints, nervous system, and balance work together. It's so effective as a predictor of health that there's an official test built around it called the 30-second chair stand test. The premise is incredibly simple. How many times can you stand up and sit down in 30 seconds? But behind that simplicity is a deep insight into how your body is aging and how well it can support you moving forward. The reason this test is so meaningful is because standing up from a seated position requires strength in all the areas that matter most as you get older. The quadriceps have to push your body upward. The glutes have to power the movement and stabilize the hips. The core has to engage to keep you balanced. The ankles have to adjust as your center of gravity shifts. The nervous system has to coordinate all these pieces smoothly. When just one of these areas is weak, the movement becomes noticeably difficult. Maybe you push off with your hands. Maybe you rock your torso forward for momentum. Maybe you stand up slowly or wobble as you rise. These small signs are exactly what specialists watch for, and they often reveal early stages of strength loss, balance decline, or mobility issues long before someone notices them in daily life. What's even more powerful is how strongly performance on this test correlates with future independence. Studies have shown that individuals who perform poorly on sit-to-stand assessments are more likely to experience mobility limitations, require assistance in daily activities, or face a higher risk of falls as they age. This isn't meant to scare anyone. It simply highlights how essential this simple movement is for keeping your body capable. The ability to stand up quickly and confidently indicates strong legs, good balance, healthy joints, and an efficient nervous system, all key components of staying independent in the years ahead. When specialists see someone perform sit-to-stands effortlessly, they can confidently say that person has the foundational strength needed for everyday life. Another reason the sit-to-stand movement is used as a diagnostic tool is because it reflects real-world ability better than many exercises. Strength machines, treadmills, or gym-based tests measure isolated movements or controlled conditions. But standing up from a chair is a natural, everyday motion. There's no equipment to hide behind and no way to compensate with the wrong muscles. Your body either has the strength and coordination to do it well, or it doesn't. That honesty is what makes the test so reliable. Doctors know that if someone can't stand up without help, they're likely already struggling with tasks like climbing stairs, bending down, or rising from lower surfaces. These struggles often continue to worsen unless strength and mobility are rebuilt.
The sit-to-stand test is also valuable because it shows how efficiently your body uses energy. When muscles weaken, simple tasks require more effort. People may feel unusually tired after standing repeatedly or moving through their day. Specialists notice this as a sign that the muscles aren't supporting the body effectively, causing other areas to take on extra stress. For example, when the quadriceps weaken, the lower back or hips may overcompensate, leading to pain or stiffness. When the core isn't strong enough, posture suffers, which affects breathing, digestion, and even mood. Sit-to-stands reveal these inefficiencies quickly, which is why they're used so often in clinical settings. Another important insight gained from the sit-to-stand test is balance. Balance issues are one of the biggest risks for older adults, and falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury in people over 60. When someone struggles to stand up smoothly, specialists can detect early signs of balance decline. Maybe the person shifts their feet nervously, leans heavily to one side, or wobbles slightly. These small movements speak volumes. Balance problems rarely appear suddenly. They develop gradually as the body loses strength, stability, and coordination. Sit-to-stands help catch these early warning signs before they turn into dangerous situations. What makes this movement even more important is its connection to long-term health predictions. The ability to perform sit-to-stands efficiently is associated with lower risk of disability, longer lifespan, and better overall physical health. Specialists view it as a gateway indicator of how well someone's body is aging. When people perform poorly, it suggests that muscle mass, bone density, balance, or neuromuscular coordination may be declining. The good news is that improving sit-to-stand performance through practice directly improves these areas directly. That's why specialists encourage people to incorporate this movement regularly, not just as a test, but as a foundational exercise for healthy aging. Another reason the sit-to-stand test is so revealing is because it reflects your body's power output. Power is different from strength. Strength is your ability to generate force. Power is your ability to generate force quickly. Power is what allows you to arise from a chair effortlessly, catch yourself when you stumble, or navigate uneven ground without losing balance. As people age, power declines faster than strength. Walking doesn't address this decline because it's a slow, repetitive motion, but sit-to-stands naturally train power. Specialists observe how quickly someone rises from a chair, not just how many repetitions they complete. A slow, labored stand-up suggests diminished power, which is a key predictor of fall risk and functional decline. Beyond physical strength and balance, sit-to-stands reveal something just as important: confidence in movement. When someone hesitates before standing, uses hands for support, or moves cautiously, it often indicates fear of falling or lack of trust in their body. Specialists pay attention to this because fear leads to less movement, which then accelerates strength loss and mobility decline. By watching how someone performs a sit-to-stand, experts can gauge not only physical ability, but also psychological comfort with movement. And when people practice this exercise consistently, that confidence grows. They stand up more easily, move more freely, and trust their body again. The reason specialists rely so heavily on this movement is because it's one of the most complete indicators of overall function. It blends strength, endurance, balance, posture, and neuromuscular coordination into one natural motion. It shows how well your body works as a system. And the best part is that improving your sit-to-stand ability improves all these areas simultaneously. It's not just a test, it's a training tool that builds the exact abilities it measures. That's why healthcare professionals encourage people over 50 to practice it regularly. It doesn't just reflect your health, it shapes it in ways that protect your independence, mobility, and quality of life as you continue to age.
The real turning point comes when you stop treating progress like a straight road and start seeing it as a long series of pivots, adjustments, and recalibrations. Most people burn out not because they lack ability, but because they cling too tightly to a rigid plan that no longer serves their goals. When you understand that adaptability is a strength rather than a sign of inconsistency, you give yourself permission to evolve in ways that actually move you forward instead of locking you into outdated expectations. Life keeps shifting, your circumstances keep changing, and your priorities naturally evolve, so your approach must evolve with them if you want sustainable growth. You don't stay relevant by repeating what you've always done. You stay relevant by updating your methods while holding on to a clear sense of purpose deep underneath it all. The pressure to stick to a predefined path often comes from fear of starting again or looking like you made the wrong decision earlier. But the truth is that changing direction doesn't erase the effort you've already put in, it refines it. Every attempt, every failure, every detour adds layers of insight that sharpen your next move. When you pivot with intention, you're not abandoning your mission, you're carving a smarter, more precise path toward it. People who succeed long-term are the ones who can read the room, sense when something isn't producing results anymore, and adjust quickly without getting caught in the emotional weight of sunk costs. They understand that clinging to a method just because they invested time in it is the fastest route to stagnation. The ability to shift gears becomes even more important when life throws unexpected challenges your way. Maybe your routine gets disrupted, maybe responsibilities increase, maybe a financial setback hits, or maybe your energy levels change. When you rely on a single fragile plan, any disruption shatters your momentum. But when you build mental flexibility, every disruption becomes a signal instead of a setback. Instead of breaking down, you ask, what's the next best move from here? What's still possible today, even if it wasn't possible yesterday? That mindset keeps you active, keeps you learning, and keeps you resilient no matter what environment you're operating in. Adaptability is what turns chaos into strategy, because the moment you stop fighting change and start building with it, you gain an advantage that most people never develop. If you watch people who achieve long-term results in any area, health, career, finances, personal growth, you'll notice a pattern. They don't chase intensity, they chase continuity. They'd rather make small changes consistently than huge changes that they won't be able to maintain. They tweak instead of overhaul. They refine instead of restart from zero every time. That's how they keep momentum even when motivation isn't at its peak. They understand that consistency isn't about never breaking rhythm. It's about rebuilding rhythm faster each time life gets messy. You don't need to be perfect for 365 days. You just need to have the skill to get back on track faster than the version of you who used to quit for weeks or months at a time. Adaptability also pushes you to reassess which habits genuinely serve you and which ones you're only keeping because they sound impressive or align with someone else's expectations. Maybe the 5-step morning routine you copied from a self-help video doesn't actually fit your lifestyle. Maybe the workout you're forcing yourself into drains more energy than it gives back. Maybe the goal you set 6 months ago no longer excites you because you've grown past it. This is where flexibility turns into wisdom. Instead of forcing yourself to follow a rigid script, you read your own life honestly and build habits that match the person you are today, not the person you were when you first made the plan. That's how you eliminate friction and make progress feel natural instead of exhausting. Another powerful benefit of staying adaptable is the way it protects your mindset from unnecessary self-criticism. When things go differently than expected, rigid thinkers blame themselves, lose confidence, and spiral into regret. Flexible thinkers quickly absorb the new reality, adjust expectations, and redirect their energy toward the next viable step. They don't get stuck in "I failed." They shift to "What's the smartest move now? What's still possible today even if it wasn't possible yesterday?" That mindset keeps you active, keeps you learning, and keeps you resilient no matter what environment you're operating in. Adaptability is what turns chaos into strategy, because the moment you stop fighting change and start building with it, you gain an advantage that most people never develop. Ultimately, adaptability becomes the silent engine behind every long-term success. It allows you to move with life instead of against it. It gives you the courage to refine your identity and your habits anytime they no longer align with your direction. It teaches you how to stay committed without being rigid, consistent without being inflexible, strong without becoming stubborn. It turns progress into something fluid and sustainable, something that grows with you rather than restraining you. And once you embrace that mindset, you stop fearing change and start using it as the leverage that keeps you moving forward every single time life shifts around you.